everyone, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 3 of Reputation Rebuild at Auxerre with me, the United City FM. So, it's been a little bit hit and miss. We've had a reasonable period of decent wins and draws, and the last 4 games or so have been the absolute opposite. A couple of losses in there that were really, really poor and took us out of the momentum that we'd built up. And we've struggled a little bit and dropped down the league a little bit. So today, last game of the calendar year against Caen, we need to get a win. We must get a win. Let's go and get a win. So yeah, welcome back to Auxerre, and we find ourselves in 6th place. If we go and have a look at the league table just before we look at everything else, 6th place after 18 matches, so pretty much halfway through the season almost. One more game to play for that to happen. We're on 34 points, and we're only 7 points away from top spot Toulouse at the moment. So we are still within a shout of all of these positions above us, and there's some teams quite close to us directly below as well. So it's all still to play for, but those last few games have been real problematic. If we go and have a look at the schedule, you can see that since the last time you and I were together for the Lorient game where we drew 2-2, and they were top at the time that we played them, so it wasn't a terrible result, although we were 2-0 up and should have won the game. After that point, we went on a pretty good run, really, of, about half a dozen matches where we won 4, drew a couple, momentum was strong, and then we got to the cup game against Lyon Auxerre. And you would imagine that in the 7th round of the Coupe de France, I probably rotated the side a lot, put my second side in, lost the momentum, and therefore it affected us. But that wasn't the case. We played the full strength side. I wanted to do well in the cup as much as I could and get a couple of paydays later in the tournament, if we could, to get up against some of the big guys. And we just didn't manage it. For whatever reason, this group of players just didn't do it on the day at all. And we went down to a very hard fighting Lyon Auxerre, and they beat us 1-0, and it absolutely decimated our momentum. And we went on a losing streak of 3 games in a row, 2 in the league after that point, where we lost by 1 goal each time, 2-1 and 1-0, but not good enough. The last game that we played, we got a 1-1 draw, but again, it wasn't really good enough. Yannis gave us an early lead. We've been struggling for the last 4 games, and today we have to do something about that against Caen in the Ligue 2 just before we go on a little bit of a break through to the early part of January. So let's go and check out the league table again and see where Caen are and see what they're going to offer us today in terms of a challenge. You can see they're sitting 14th, so bottom half of the table, bottom quarter of the table almost, and we sit just off the pace of those playoff positions in 6th. So we do need to pick up the win today. So in doing so, let's hope that we can boost ourselves back up into the playoff positions. But at this point, we've got a couple of injury issues, etc. as well. So let's get into the tactics page and just check out what we've got in store for Caen today. So we've got some issues with injuries to players. Season2, Bilogu, Ngando and Le Bihan out. And if we look at Bilogu and Le Bihan, you can see they're out for a couple of months at the minimum. Both of those two out for the long term. So we've got some issues with that to pay attention to as we go through the next couple of months. So the other two are minor injuries that will be back soon into the fray a little bit. So that's not too bad. But those 2 injuries, especially Le Bihan, he's got a very good average rating. He's got 2 in the 5 games that he started for us. He's a very, very able backup to the guys that's starting most of the games. And to not have him on the bench is unfortunate, let's say, at this point. Everybody else is fit enough to play, though. We've kept as much of a settled starting 11 as I possibly can over the last few weeks, really, just to see if we can get some momentum in the play again. Hasn't quite worked out, but we don't have an awful lot of choice. This is what we've got to work with, and you can see that the better players in terms of their average ratings are all in the starting lineup, other than those couple that maybe have got a bit of an injury that could potentially have played a part if that wasn't the case. So for today's game, really big game, we have to try and find a way to get 3 points today and get back on the winning train a little bit. We got Plizzari in goal, Mbiwa and Suprayan in central defence, Gaspar at right back, Boto at left back, Adiotti, Chouameni, Herrera and Saki in central midfield, Yanis and Mercier up top with a bench of Wilson, Bernard, Gomez, Cisse, Madinda, Sorgic and Murdy. Still struggling with some of those names. But anyway, that's what we've got. Let's see how we get on today. So assertively, we're away from home, but assertively I've said I expect us to win today. I've got to put the pressure on them and see if we can get a better performance than we have recently. It's not been terrible. We've been playing okay in bits, but it's just not consistent and it's not impactful enough is the problem, especially finding those goals. So that's the thing that we have to change. But of course it's Caen. I also have a good opportunity for that today themselves, and they get a good cross in from this right hand side to the left far post. The header wasn't on target though, and we can breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief that they didn't get an early goal and put us under even more pressure. So let's see if we can get through this first 20 minutes or so with no problems. We can, and now it's time to demand more from them in the shouts and just keep putting the pressure on them. That today we need to get that 3 points. We need to start winning matches again and regaining some morale and some momentum behind our play to get back into at minimum those playoff positions. But again, it's Caen with a free kick this time that goes to the far post, and again the header narrowly this time goes over the top of the bar, and we get to half time. And we are still at 0-0 and the possession is equal. But look at the shots at goal. 6 for them, only 1 for us. And that's not good enough at all. So we're going to go in and we're going to aggressively say, I'm not happy with the performance out there. And that's fired them up. No need to change anything just yet in terms of we've got some very low ratings, but that's not a reason to change them just at the moment. The health of them, the conditioning is fine. So we'll put them back out. Again, we'll go in the shouts and we'll just tell them to push forward on this occasion just to see if we can get any form of momentum up the pitch and get a couple of attempts for ourselves. A loose ball, though, from Plizzari from the goal kick, and it means that Caen find the loose ball, but Boto, with a foot in on a yellow card already, had to get that challenge right, and he just about did. Ran half the length of the pitch to move us up, drops it into midfield to Herrera. Now we keep the possession a little bit better. That's good. Diotti again finds Boto on the left-hand side. Plenty of space. Cross needs to come in now. It does just about, but it doesn't clear the first defender. We still win the loose ball again, though. Drops it back to Saki, and it's off the post, off the bar, should I say, and then it's Mercier that reacts quickest to the loose ball in the 6-yard box and pokes it home for a 1-0 lead for ourselves. As long as there's no offside, let's just check this when Saki strikes the ball. Where is Mercier? Mercier is the one that drops it back to him. It should be fine, I think. And we should have taken a 1-0 lead, and I think we will have. And that's pretty positive, considering that we've been under the cosh a little bit for a lot of this game. We've got ourselves back into the game a little bit, but they've still had double the amount of shots at goal than we've had. So we've just got to make the most of the ones we've got. Saki with a corner kick. There were loads approaching from the top of the box, and he didn't use them. Again, the cross comes into the far post to Yanis. Header on target, but straight at the goalkeeper, and he manages to clutch the ball with no problems. 68 minutes gone. He now launches one straight down the middle of the pitch. Our defence opens up like an absolute chasm for him to run into. Fortunately, one of our defenders got back, got a foot round the ball and managed to block whatever attempt he was going to make on it. But not quite good enough, that bit at the back, was there? Lots of yellow cards in our sort of back area as well, which is a problem. Some average ratings as well. So what we're going to do to change this, we are going to take Boto out and bring Bernard in. We're going to take Suprayan out. No, we're not, because he's motivated and he's got a good average rating. So he's going to have to play the rest of the game. We're going to take Adiotti out and put Gomez in to play that holding midfield role. And just take a couple of those yellow cards out of the fray so we hopefully don't get a sending off. And then we're going to take Yanis off up top, and we're going to bring Murdy in to play as the target man alongside Mercier and see whether they can unlock anything at the back. And just as one final shout, we're going to encourage the side just to keep moving, keep pushing forward, even though we're 1-up at this point. I think the way that we've played recently means that we have to stay on the front foot and try and see this match out as much as we can, whilst trying to get a second goal if possible and take it away from Caen fully. We've got the last 10 minutes or so to play. Not too many highlights in the last sort of section of the game. But again, it's Caen with the last say, hopefully not with a goal. But it's a throw-in down the left-hand side. Gets it back, crosses to the far post, and a thunderbolt of a shot that comes off the woodwork. And in the end, Plizzari manages to pick up the ball and take away the danger. We were very, very lucky. But we do manage to get those 3 points. We managed to address the form that we've been in. We were absolutely battered by Caen in terms of possession stats. Possession was in our favour, but all of the other stats were against us. Let's just check out the analysis page and deep dive into exactly how unlucky Caen might have been. So the summary page says it all, really. 19 shots for Caen and 7 for us. 10 on target and 3 for us. We had slightly more of the possession. We had slightly better average ratings through our side that played. So that's good. But they were quite unlucky, weren't they, really? They just hadn't got quite the quality they needed to get it past our goalkeeper. You can see that, again, we worked primarily through the centre of the pitch, which is what the diamond makes us do. They worked primarily down the right-hand side. You can see that in terms of how the focus of attacks is all split up. We had a reasonable amount of central midfield possession. Probably didn't quite do enough with it as a big picture stuff, but in the end, we managed to come away with the points. So let's look at the shots at goal today. There is the one goal, which in the end did all the damage for Mercier. If we go to the off-target ones, not for both, we're just focusing on us. We didn't have any off-target. We hit the woodwork once, and that was from Saki. And that was the woodwork was hit, and then the follow-up was the goal, wasn't it, from Mercier? There were 2 that were saved by their goalkeeper. One from distance, one from quite a narrow angle. We were not creating the chances in this centre point of the penalty box at all today, it felt like. And a couple of block shots, there's a couple that were, but obviously blocked. And then one very long shot from Herrera from outside the box. Not great on the shooting front, was it, particularly? In terms of our passing, the intercepted passes, too many. I don't like all of these ones up here, have got to be better. And they're being intercepted, and the out of play ones, there were more of them today as well. We were not quite at our best today. 6 key passes, all from that sort of primarily from that central midfield area, and then one from Botto down the left fullback area. So that's encouraging in itself. But they were all focused into this section of the pitch instead of putting it through in this area here. Something to work on a little bit, I would suggest. So a little bit disappointing. I'm not going to overanalyze this. We won the game, which is positive. We needed to get the losses out of our system and get back on the winning form, and we managed to do it. But today, it wasn't overly impressive, was it? It was just a little bit of a fortunate goal off the woodwork that Mercier responded first and got the goal. And then we managed to just about hang on to it, even though in the last few minutes of the game, they had a couple of decent opportunities themselves. So if we come out of the match day experience, we go into the team talk and say, a good win, well done, just to boost the morale. And when we continue on into the league, to see that we've moved up a place, but we were the early game for the weekend, so other teams have a chance to fight back at us again and cause us some problems. But currently, we're back in those playoff positions, which is the minimum that I expect for this season. We've got some issues with Herrera still looking jaded. He has to play too many games. He's too good compared to what else we've got. And finding the moments where we can rest him properly has been really tricky. Maybe we'll be able to do that now that we've got a couple of week break just before the January games start. So maybe we can do that now and bring him in January just at the point where he's back to a bit more of a better conditioning. That's the hope anyway. We'll have to watch this space. In general, it's been an okay first half of the season. We've now played our halfway mark game. you can see that the form has been inconsistent here and there, and that last section of sort of 2 or 3 games has been really problematic. Hopefully we can go into January though with a little bit more momentum and morale behind us, and what we're going to come back for in the next game is this first game of February after the transfer window. I don't think I'll be able to do anything in the transfer window. Some of our players are being looked at by other clubs. Some want to leave. We'll talk about that in the next episode. I don't know what I'm going to be able to do in terms of replacing them though, because the finances are so bad. I'm a bit worried about them, to be honest. At the end of the season, it might cause me a problem with the board, but we'll have to wait and see on that. So we'll go through the January transfer window, play these 4 matches. The next time you and I will be together will be for the Grenoble match at the beginning of February. Then, as I've said before, it's going to be a quick dive through the season. So we'll play the end of March game and then the end of May game in the following episodes, just to get through to the end of the season and see where that leaves us, trying to get this series to a point where we can leave it before FM20 finishes. So that's what we're going to do next. Today, we squeaked a win 1-0, which is good in itself, but ultimately, I'd still want this team to be performing better than they are. Hopefully, a bit of a rest in through till the midpoint of January will now do that for us. So join me for the next episode. I'll catch you up on all of the transfer stuff that did or didn't happen. We'll find out. And I'll catch you up on the 4 games that we have to play in January. Until then, though, thank you for joining me today. Really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button for me. Helps me get seen by lots of other people the more it's shared out there. So do that for me. Until next time, though, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.